Eze to Arsenal, maybe, potentially. There are rumours, there are reports starting to come out that Arsenal are interested in the player. We've heard about this before, and we know the £60 million release clause. I want to break everything we know down, give a little bit of predictions as well. This isn't just a case of reports. I want to try and predict what might be going on and what, I don't know, could potentially happen post-Euros. Of course, England play against the Netherlands tonight, so things could speed up quite quickly after this week. But I also want to talk about Emile Smith Rowe, his future, what's going on with this Fulham move, which definitely seems to be picking up pace, and also why it might make sense for Smith Rowe to leave to make room for an Eze, and where he might play a small part in the Arsenal squad. I just want to look ahead to that potential fit a little bit. But firstly, let's go through everything we know about Eze, the player, and the links, because as we got here from Ed Aarons at The Guardian, Arsenal are understood to be among several clubs interested in Crystal Palace's Emirates Eze, and they could look into signing a goalkeeper as a backup to David Raya if they allow Aaron Ramsdale to depart. Now, two things to break down there. First, that's from the 8th of July, so a couple of days ago. Arsenal are one of the clubs interested in Eze, but also that if Ramsdale leaves, they're looking to get another backup. Dan Bentley, I keep saying David Bentley, Dan Bentley is not going to be that backup. Reports saying he's going to be a number 3. At the time of recording this, I'm planning on doing a live on the channel, which should be out by now. So if you want my full reaction to that, go check that out. But what's really interesting about all this is a couple other moving pieces in all this and what we know about other clubs and how that plays a part for Arsenal. So in Man City, who were heavily linked with Eze, not just this summer, but actually last summer as well, there are conflicting reports. So according to Matt Hughes, Man City are willing to trigger Crystal Palace's £60 million release clause for Emirates Eze, but more recently, The Athletic said that Man City are currently not planning a move for Crystal Palace's Eze. Now, conflicting reports, and actually, forgive me, I probably should have known exactly when that first one was from, but I believe it is recent. What's interesting about the Eze perspective from, when it comes to Man City is City have been interested, and they were one of the front runners when it came to Eze. When you're talking about the clubs that were linked, Tottenham were mentioned a lot, but City were definitely up there. If they're out the race, interested to know why, because they were so interested in the player before. 60 million seems a doable release course for a club like Man City. So what is it that's putting them off? Are there developments when it comes to other clubs? And look, I'm not even suggesting that's necessarily Arsenal. I think that could easily be Tottenham or someone else as well. The interest is there for Eze. And a reminder of where we were with Eze before the Euros. Sami Mokbel had announced that there was a release clause of 60 million with add-ons going up to 8 million, and Team News and Ticks had been told that from two unconnected people at Arsenal that they were looking at Eze, that Eze is a very affordable release clause at 60 million, but a large amount of it has to be paid up front. Again, would Arsenal be willing to do that where maybe other clubs wouldn't? That's the reports on the Eze front. Now, my prediction is that once the Euros wraps up, this is going to pick up some speed. I think, look, £60 million release clause, I think it's going to feel too good for teams to walk away from. And it's really sad for Palace to lose Elise and Eze after the great work that they'd just been doing at the end of the season. Yeah, unfortunately, that is just kind of how football can work, to be honest. But I don't think clubs are going to pass up on Eze. He's been playing some crucial minutes for England. And once the Euro's done, I don't think Gareth Southgate would have wanted anyone to sort of be talking to players, sniffing around players when it comes to transfer stuff during the Euros. So expect by next week that things actually pick up on the Eze front. More on Eze in a sec, because I think that this is related too. And it's the latest Emile Smith Rowe. Now again, the first we'd heard was on June the 2nd from Mike McGrath, where he said that Emile Smith Rowe is a transfer priority for Fulham. Then, more recently, if we go back to the 7th of July, at Reluctant Nico, yeah, I think I pronounced that right, which is Alan Nixon. Alan Nixon said on his Patreon that Fulham will make a new bid for Smith Rowe, and the player is happy to stay and fight for his place at Arsenal. Fulham are sticking to the chase and won't take no for an answer, with Arsenal willing to sell at the right price. Why is this update important? Well, Alan Nixon was actually the first person to give us the news that Arsenal really wanted Dan Bentley from Wolves, and that deal is obviously progressing quite quickly, with David Ornstein also saying that is sort of picking up some momentum. So he was right about that. Also got this to confirm here that Fulham are to make a new offer to Arsenal for Emile Smith Rowe and also make a higher offer to the player. So I'm interested, does that mean that an offer has been made for Smith Rowe that we rejected? A new offer? What is that relating to past offers that we don't know about? Or maybe they made in previous years? Or is this a new one this year, because that would suggest that we've rejected one already. I'd love to know the figures out of that, but we don't have that at the moment. The other update came from Sky Sports. Fulham Fan Zone aggregating the news, saying that Fulham hold a strong interest, according to Sky. As you can see there, hit the pause button if you want to read the full report from Sky Sports. So Smith Rowe to Fulham, very much on, it feels like to me. We've been hearing about this for a while, and people are just starting to give hints that, like, no, there's really something to this. And of course, Eze feels, while they are slightly different, I think Arteta would use them in similar ways in the Arsenal system. What do I mean by that? Well, let me take you straight to the tactical pad, because we've got here Arsenal's 11, and you're probably thinking, where's Gabriel? Where's Timber? What have you done with Jorginho, Partey, Martinelli, Saka? Or Martinelli's on the right. This is actually the 11 that ended the game against Everton, and there's a particular reason why I want to show you this, because chasing a goal, needing to find that win against Everton in the hope that West Ham would do us a favour on the final day, Arteta resorted to, and my pen's not working, which is typical, let's see if I can get that working now, but he resorted to this system. That's how Arsenal looked in possession, chasing a goal against Everton. Now this should work. So, what we have here is a 2. In fact, let's draw the lines. We have a 2, a 3, and a 5. We had a 2-3-5 system with the idea of getting Smith Rowe and Ødegaard more in the pockets, and if we show it in red, getting the passing out of Zinchenko and Timber with, let's do it in green, Rice covering this space as a defensive midfielder. Honestly, I think that was the game plan, to try and get the best out of Ødegaard and Smith Rowe in these spots, and to try and get Rice sitting in front of what is a pretty exposed back two, with Zinchenko and Timber either side to be the ball progressors, because we didn't have a Jorginho or Partey in the team. So the question is, basically, can you take... in fact, let's open this back up. There we go. Can you take... There we go. Smith Rowe out the team and basically pop Eze. Where is he? Here we go. Put Eze in this position here. Is this what Arsenal are looking to do next season? Could you imagine a Calafiori there with a White and a Timber there? Does that offset maybe Rice's, by his amazing standards, slight deficiency as a sort of ball-playing 6 who dictates the tempo, because you have two either side as playmakers? And does it allow you to get those 2 10s in the team in Eze and Ødegaard, who can link up with the likes of Martinelli, the likes of Trossard, the likes of Havertz, Saka, whoever it might be, in those pockets, and give Arsenal a little bit more creative flair? At the moment, it feels like a lot of the creativity lies on Ødegaard. Not all of it, of course, but would Arsenal like to address that by getting someone like Eze in the team? If Smith Rowe's going to go, Eze feels like a good profile to add. The only thing I'd say is that Arsenal have rarely played with that being the system. As we know, they've played more with the system looking like this, and this midfielder has had to drop out of possession into this shape. And Eze, does he feel comfortable there? I don't 100% know about that. I don't know if that's quite the fit. So I'm really interested to see. I'm also interested to see whether he might get some minutes out on the left with, let's take, Jesus out for a second, put Jorginho in. Could he get minutes out on the left as well, tucking in with an overlapping fullback? I don't know, but I feel like with the way Arsenal ended that game last season, Eze slotting into that sort of left 8, left 10 really, alongside Ødegaard, does make quite a bit of sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd really love to know what you make of the Eze links. I'd love to know what you make of all the latest transfer links. We talked a little bit about Eze, Smith Rowe, we talked about in a lot of detail on the podcast, the Goonerverse, with the amazing Laura and Forder on football. Alex Forder joined us as well. Sharoy, of course, there to discuss it all. We talked about more transfer stuff, Dan Bentley, Calafiori, and more. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and go check out that podcast if you missed it. See you soon.